What's up, guys? It is December 1st. I'm going to rank every horror movie I've seen from September until now. So let's dive in. What's up, guys? I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving holiday. We are in December officially now. Originally, I was going to wait a couple weeks to do this because if you've been following my channel, you know that I pretty much did a horror ranking every 4 months, from like January to April, and then May to August, and then September to December. But I figured the end of the year, I'm going to be doing what I call my end of year sweeps. I freaking do a ton of end of year rankings for horror, non-horror, maybe most disappointing movies, and usually 3 or 4 more like anticipated horror of 2025. If you haven't subscribed, definitely now is the time to subscribe because I got a lot of content coming for you guys. Still got reviews for December coming for Nosferatu and other movies. But I figured, you know what, this is a good point because I got 16 horror movies to go ahead and rank for you guys. And then at the end of the year, I'm going to do a full ranking top 10 horror movies of the entire year, which will be fun. And maybe if I'm feeling really frisky, I'll do an entire ranking of all the horror movies I've seen all year, and that'll be a really long list. I've never done that in the past. This might be the first year I do it. And before we jump in, I want to dedicate this one to my recent channel members, because I've been doing dedications over the past few videos to my DCAP members of Patreon. I figured mix it up. Let's thank some of the channel members. My latest are Katie Lee, Tracy Reed, and Norris. If you're not a Drumdums channel member or a patron, definitely consider jumping on. We're doing live streams, like a 1-hour session 2 times a month now, every other Thursday. So really stepping up my my channel member patron game. Okay, anyway, let's dive in. Since I'm doing 16 of these, I think these first 6, I'm just going to give you really quick down and dirty, okay? And then once we get into the top 10, I might dive a little bit deeper. All right, so anyway, coming in at number 16 is going to be Afraid. This could be a contender for the worst of the year, but it's definitely the worst of this particular segment. And it's just AI bullshit. And if you're, you know, I get having like a horror movie based around like Alexa or something like that, but this just doesn't work. It's very slow moving. There's really no real scares, and I don't really care about anything that's going on. Number 15, Time Cut. The only credit I can give this movie is that it was, I guess, made before Totally Killer, but my God, it pales in comparison in every single way to that movie. It's after school special time travel bullshit. Number 14, Apartment 7A. Did we really need a prequel to Rosemary's Baby? One of my all-time favorite horror films. Such a classic. Such a lesson in how to create tension without really showing you much at all. Just creating a mood. And boy, does that movie do it. And this movie, it feels like a prequel, and it doesn't really do much at all. And it's a shame because I freaking love Julie Garner. Is it Julie or Julia? I get it mixed up. I think it's Julie Garner. Number 13, my latest review for Wineville, and this is where I'm getting into movies that I actually kind of liked. And as far as the most screwed up horror movie of the year in terms of the story, this is like family horror. And if you like stuff like Texas Chainsaw Massacre and incest and just unpredictability and crazy ass bullshit, and I mean bullshit in a good way, then definitely give Wineville a check. And big kudos to Brandy Roderick. This is her directorial debut, and I think great job. Number 12, Salem's Lot. This was a retelling of the Stephen King story. The movie is such a classic that came out in, was it 79? And I just watched that movie for the first time, and I was just blown away. It might be my all-time favorite vampire flick. It's that good. This remake is pretty unnecessary. It does have some nice, I guess, moments in it if you like modern horror. It's got some nice vampire moments in it. There's plenty of blood throughout, but it's pretty forgettable as well. And number 11, Azrael. This is Samara Weaving, the movie that kind of slid by everybody, and luckily I checked what's coming out, and I decided to go see this in the theater. A lot of potential in this movie, and I loved the last act. And how it went full-on evil demon shit, which was awesome. It definitely drags in the first 2/3 of the movie, but pretty effective last act and chilling. Okay, diving into the top 10. Speak No Evil. James McAvoy never disappoints. And if you watch this movie for anything, watch it for him. I was curious to watch the original after I watched this movie. And boy, am I glad I did, because that movie is amazing. And if you're looking for a completely different last act, then you'll go with this new version. The original version, I'm not going to spoil if it's a less or more hopeful last act. I'll let you watch both versions. But I think you can kind of guess, being that this new version is the American version. And if you've seen the original version, holy shit. That's all I'm going to say. Number 9, Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, this was really fun. It made me go and, I think, watch the original for the first time all the way through. Sure, I've caught bits and pieces of the original through the years. How could you not? Beetlejuice is such an iconic character. I never realized how little Beetlejuice is in the original movie. He's in this movie more. If you're wanting the sequel that's bigger and more colorful and the budget looks bigger, then I think you'll have fun with this. I think Jenna Ortega is a very welcome addition, and man, was it nice to see Winona Ryder back as that character. Number 8, Stream, and this was from the team by some of the Terrifier movies. And if you're looking for just fun kills, especially one or two that are extremely graphic and memorable, then I think this is your movie. I like the premise, how, it's a hotel where all the guests are systematically killed by some crazed lunatics. It definitely has that low budget flair to it, and it's not nearly as good as the Terrifier movies, but still very fun. Number 7, Subservience. This might be the biggest surprise of the year. If I did like a top 10 surprises of the year, this would probably be in the top 3, because I expected nothing from this movie. I thought it was going to be pretty bad. But Megan Fox, man, I tell you, you put her in a horror movie and give her some fat to chew on, some meat, she delivers. And I found her pretty compelling in this, and I just am such a freaking fan of The Hand That Rocks the Cradle. And you could almost kind of call this, even though it's not, your own little, I guess, requel or sequel to that movie, just based on the story alone, and that the little girl in that original movie is an adult in this movie and a major player. So yeah, this one was really fun. Number 6, Don't Move. I think Netflix always creeps in one effective horror movie, maybe 2 every year, and this was that movie. Like most Netflix horror movies, the plot is extremely simple. A character who is temporarily paralyzed throughout the movie, and how do you get out of a situation when you can't move? And I think they found some interesting and creative ways to keep the story moving forward and keep it tension-filled, and somehow make the protagonist vulnerable as hell, but still somehow smart, even though she can't move. And by the way, if I could recommend the movie from last year that was on my list, it would be Nowhere. Very similar type premise, very simple. A character stuck in one environment. In this case, a shipping container in the middle of the ocean. Really cool. Number 5, Woman of the Hour. Bravo, Anna Kendrick, for telling this story in a unique and refreshing way. It's a story that many of you might have kind of stumbled upon through the years, and then you probably forgot about it. Same in my case, but it was the story of the serial killer that was on The Dating Game. And as soon as I saw that this movie popped up, I was like, oh, damn. I was always wondering why they never made a movie about this, and I'm glad they did, but it doesn't like sensationalize the killer in the movie like most serial killer movies do. It chooses to go the other way and tell more of the story of the victims or would-be victims, and I think it does it very effectively. But it still makes the killer very creepy and chilling thanks to a great performance by Daniel Zavato. It's been fun watching his career grow. Number 4, Heretic. This was that movie that as soon as I saw the trailer, I was instantly hooked. I think most horror movies, it seems like it, are based around one environment, but Hugh Grant gives, I think, one of the best performances of the year. Not just horror. I think I'm just gonna stop saying that, okay? Not just horror. Because I think horror movies, they do often require really great performances. And this is no exception. Is it the best performance of the year? Maybe not my favorite, but still amazing. And Hugh Grant, I've always thought of him as like this romantic comedy leading man, but man, does he step outside of his comfort zone maybe and just show off his amazing acting talent. I think the biggest problem of the movie, which most will agree with, is the last act. But everything before that and just his performance alone easily puts it in my top 5 of this particular countdown, maybe the year. Number 3 is Terrifier 3. Man, have I come around to this franchise after watching the first movie? Technically, the first movie that's fully about art. After watching 3, I could watch 3 more art movies, and the key ingredient is I don't care how violent and how creative these kills are in these movies, and that's great. If you don't have that wink that you get from Art as a character and his personality, then you don't have, I guess, half the recipe. And man, is he so effective in this, and the kills are really great. And the fact that it's a Christmas horror movie just kicks it up a notch for me, because I actually adore Christmas horror movies, especially if they're done well. Number 2, Blink Twice. This is a movie that I didn't get to see it when it first came out, so I didn't get a review out for it, and I meant to, but time. I just didn't get a chance to, but I'm glad I finally got a chance to watch this movie. Another one of those huge surprises of the year that really just goes batshit crazy in the last act. Channing Tatum, man, I tell you, that guy, as soon as I start doubting him, then he pulls out a performance like he does in Blink Twice. He's not a one-note actor at all. I think Channing Tatum is extremely talented. Much like Brad Pitt is, because, outside of the pretty face, we often can come to the conclusion that because he's so attractive, there's no way that he could be that talented of an actor. But I think Channing Tatum is very talented in this movie. And as far as trigger factor, this might be a little triggering to some. That's all I'll say. Guys, real quick, I'm actually recording audio for my upcoming Crow documentary. Well, far upcoming. It comes out early next year, somewhere around there. But I forgot to include one movie, and that is Smile 2. Holy crap, I always forget one. I keep a running list of these, but I always forget to add one, and I forgot to add Smile 2, which is fantastic. That would be my number 2. It would so I guess we'll call this 2B, and basically because of how batshit crazy this movie is and how insanely great Naomi Scott is. And earlier I mentioned Hugh Grant, that being one of the better performances of the year. I think Naomi Scott has the best performance of the year, bar none, over any movie I've seen this year. She is phenomenal. And I loved the story, how they took it to the next level in Smile 2. I prefer Smile 2 over the first Smile. So, yeah, definitely wanted to get that in here as well. So, yeah, Smile 2 will probably be in the overall top 10 as well. So, yeah, anyway, what's number 1? And then number 1 is The Substance. And this, I'll cut to the chase if you're watching this video. It's going to be tough to beat this movie for the entire year. It was such a refreshing body horror movie. It was a great return of Demi Moore and Margaret Qualley, bouncing off of her. Loved the Cronenberg elements of this. And man, they did not hold back. And I love it when an actor puts themselves outside of their comfort zone, which these two actors really did. Sometimes actors have to put the story first. Art isn't safe. You could feel the vulnerability in this movie. And man, does it deliver. And it's literally in your face, like throughout most of the shots in every way. So yeah, there you go, guys. Ranking my 16 movies that I've saw over the past 4-ish months. I can't wait to get to the end of this year, and I'm sure Nosferatu will be on this list somewhere. Yeah, stay tuned for a lot of content coming over this next month, especially bleeding into January. That's part of the reason why I had to adjust my patron tiers, if I'm being honest, because of time. I just don't have the time to do everything that I need to do. And you know what it was? I think it was the movie Multiplicity. I was watching Multiplicity with Michael Keaton, and a light bulb went off. Oh my God, I can totally relate to that guy, needing at least one more of myself to go around. So you can only do what you can do, right? But be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free For All Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials. Support me on Patreon, buy me a coffee, become a channel member. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day, and Drumdum out.